Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer joins me today to unpack the latest in the mining industry. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Ashni.
Can you explain to us the need for South Africa to boost exploration in the Northern Cape?
Now, the Northern Cape was described to me by a top explorer this week as being elephant country. In the language of the explorer, that means there's a lot there to be found. There are a lot of metals and minerals. And Gerard Mankies, who's been in that area a long time, speaks about the metals we really need now. He's speaking about the copper and the nickel, the rare earths, and even platinum group metals, and heaven only knows, lithium as well. So we have really delayed looking at that area, but it is very prospective, and it could be compared to some of the best in the world. So I think if we can get this exploration going, we could really get a lot of new era metals there, which we're looking for, which are going to be so important, for South Africa in this age, which is electrifying. We see all the countries are actually defining critical metals, like Canada and these places. The minister comes out and says, these are our critical metals, this is what we must look for. That's what we should be saying to our explorers now. But of course our explorers have never had a good backing, because we had the big Witwatersrand and we had the Bushveld complex, and most of the big mining companies used to just send the engineers out and say, well, where should we put our shaft? So we didn't have to explore enough, and therefore we haven't got enough young geologists coming through. We must really correct that, because going for these massive big ore bodies and saying, well, we've got to have, if we're going for gold, like 3 million ounces minimum, is really old-fashioned. People don't do that anymore. You've got to get in when it's shallow, you get what you can, and normally you find a lot more, and it keeps your operation going. So we've got to change the way we do things here, and we've also got to make sure we get the best out of our Northern Cape and also the other areas. People, you say Northern Cape, they think iron ore. No. This has got a lot more, particularly what they call the Namakwa metamorphic province. So we see that there are some moves now. There is some document out, I'm told, that is looking for a comment on exploration. South Africa should really get in there big time and get moving, because we see in other jurisdictions it can really do a lot of good for the country. Canada, Australia, Chile. Let's move.
And South Africa could win back its share of the global vanadium market.
Vanadium, we were the biggest vanadium suppliers to the market. In those days of Highveld Steel, which was then owned by Anglo-American, we would have to go out there as Mining Weekly, and often we left at about 5 a.m, because you needed to get to those people who got up early. I'm telling you, there was a fellow who led that. He was a Scot. He had been in a situation where he could have gone to Canada, the cold, or come to South Africa, the hot sun, and he chose the hot sun. And he was in charge there, Leslie Boyd, and brother, did he grow that Highveld Steel. And he had a walking the floor management style. By 7 o'clock, he had spoken to most of the workers there, and when he got to his management meeting at 8, he knew everything that was going on there, and they used to just grow this thing like topsy, to a point where at one stage we had 25% of the world market, and plus, we had a big slice of the world market. And I can remember how they used to have roadshows. They used to go out there to the world and promote this vanadium. Well, vanadium, 90% of vanadium goes into steel, and it strengthens that steel, and that's always been important. But it's so much more important now, because people want to strengthen that steel even more. Because if you strengthen the steel, you don't have to use as much of it. If you don't have to use as much of it, you're not creating a carbon footprint, and that's what people want to avoid. They want to stop all these emissions. So its time has come. Now we've got these great ore bodies here, high grade, and Bushveld Minerals Fortune Modjapala was saying, South Africa Incorporated should really put their heads down to win back that 25% or even more of that world market, because there is such an opportunity now. So you've got the old era giving you a huge demand. Now you've got the new era on top of that. So it's time now for us to really do that. That new era is around batteries, where, long endurance batteries, this vanadium is essential there, and you can see people popping up with much smaller ore bodies, in other countries and starting to wave the flag. We've got a much better situation here. We've got, of the 4 world's big processing plants, we've got 3 of them because of our high grade, particularly, and the volume. So South Africa needs to put its head down and win back that vanadium market share. The time is right now, but if we don't do it, we could lose out.
And lastly, Martin, South Africa's team of local battery material champions are planning first mover advances into new geographies.
And this was incredible innovation. Takata battery materials, and the way they actually got this nickel sulfide is very innovative, because you could virtually say this was coming from a stream in a platinum group metal environment, which was the base metal refinery. But nobody was really particularly getting any value out of this. You could almost call it a sort of a discard, a waste. But along came Takata, and they saw the potential to purify this and to put it through a new plant, which they set up. And we now see that going into the world as a product that gets a price premium above what the nickel price is on the London Metal Exchange. And we see, countries like Korea and China and South America and many others wanting this nickel sulfide. Why? Because it's, again, this new energy transition that the world is going into. Electric vehicles and storage of electricity and all that. You need these sort of purified nickel sulfide. And it was, hats off to Kadu for actually clinching this and now commissioning the plant. And I saw pictures of actually bagfuls of this nickel sulfide going out into the export market, and that's what we need.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the local and global mining industries. And don't forget to listen to the audio version of our Mining Weekly daily email newsletter.